What's up, YouTube? Yeah, I know it's been another little while, and I apologize. I've been pretty busy, but that's it's not all that bad, I guess, right? Um, so where we last left off, I was telling you about the turning point. You know how I basically watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and that was sort of the catalyst that decided to give me the empowerment that I needed to start making these changes. So today I'm going to try to talk a little bit about the method, that I sort of came to do. So, I watched the documentary, and the only thing that I knew that I wanted to do was I wanted to do what Joe Cross did. Like I wanted to do what Phil Staples did, and I, went to the Reboot Your Life or whatever, and it was kind of weird. I was looking at their plans, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, these plans are just like having you eat food and then maybe juice for a couple of days and not actually juice fast. But I get it. Like I understand now, what they're trying to do. They're trying to ease you into things. But I was like, well, no, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go for what they did. I want to look. I want to get their success. So I just decided to go off and sort of pay attention to how they did it on the documentary, and doing it that way. Not gonna lie, it's a lot more difficult. I would recommend if you're starting out to go to the website and follow their advice. It's really good advice, and there's a reason why they came up with it that way. But anyway, if you're just crazy in the head like me, and so many others who've been trying to do this thing, then you can do it their way, and that way is perfectly fine. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to really hurt you all that bad either. So the number one key is to drink at least 64 ounces of juice a day, and basically it breaks down to a serving being about 16 to 20 ounces a sitting. So, and you want to have at least 4 to 6 servings of juice a day. And you also want to balance that out with about an equal amount of water. I mean, at least 64 ounces of water. General rule of thumb for just general health is to drink half your body weight in ounces of water a day. And if you do that, regardless, even if you're not even juice fasting, you'll lose weight by drinking a lot of water. Water is really good. It filters out all the crap that's in your system. So, I was basically drinking, a juice at breakfast, and then I drink another juice, sort of a mid-morning snack, a juice at lunch, and then a juice in the afternoon, and then, a dinner juice or whatever. That was basically my day. And if I felt a little hungry, then I would, try to drink another juice, or there's a certain point, especially around day 3 in the first week, where hunger hits you really hard. You get to a point where the juice is just not cutting it. You're like, oh my god, I'm drinking juice, but it's not really working. And what I found was my wife Zulema tried a different recipe. She made this tabbouleh juice, and it was like more of a savory juice. And what I did was I added some Tabasco sauce to it, and it was more like a savory flavor rather than a sweet flavor. And then it kind of helped satisfy that urge. Like it filled the gap, and that kind of helped get me through. Now, there were a couple times through the thing where I'd slip, but slipping isn't necessarily such a bad thing. It's not really going to kill you if you slip and eat vegetables. Thankfully enough for me, I didn't slip and dive into a steak or anything like that. Basically I'd be making juice with an apple, and then I'd like bite into an apple or whatever, right? And that's not a terrible thing, but so one thing that you want to try to avoid if you're trying to be a hardcore purist for juicing, not necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's any real wrong way to do a juice fast, but you certainly want to do, there's a certain way of doing things, because if you technically break your fast at a certain point, I mean, you can make yourself feel really really weird or off, or sometimes bad. So anyway, that was the juicing side of things, and then there was the activity side of things. So in the documentary, what they would do is, Phil or Joe would go walking. That was their main activity, walking, and then led to running. And I was really in a bad way with my back, so I decided to do biking. Um, Me and Zulema and a couple other friends of ours, we took to biking, and we started by biking Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like 3 times a week. And very shortly after that, we decided to start. I decided to start, biking, every day. Wanted to get the activity in every single day. I mean, I wasn't really working, so I kind of had the time. And another friend of mine was sort of, on his own timetable since he made his own company. So we would just go out and go riding every day. And, I was basically constantly pushing it myself, or rather, he was pushing me to keep improving. So, we just set out, and there's like this river loop that we have that stretches at least. I mean, I can go like 14 miles around this loop and get back to the place where I start near my apartment. And, there's we can make short loops like 5 miles. There's like a longer loop that's 10 miles, even longer loop that's like around 14 miles. And, we started struggling to do the 5 mile loop. Like I was struggling. And, I got to where, after doing it enough, I was getting enough endurance to just roll through it, and it was easier and easier. And as time progressed, I was going, like 10 mile loops, or we would do half of it and come back. And yeah, it was great. I bought a bike computer, added it to the bike. Pretty much when I got this brand new bike, and I would say within that 60 days, that first 60 days of fasting, I rode over 800 miles. And that's insane. Like, I hadn't ridden a bike in forever. And, then I put 800 miles on this thing. And then, I had the great fortune of meeting Joe Cross at a get-together up in Seattle. And I was already up there for a concert, and I was like, here, I went to this amazing concert. Now I get to meet Joe Cross, like this guy that was responsible for helping me lose 47 pounds in 60 days. Like, that's ridiculous. So, I met that guy, and he was awesome. He's a really, really nice guy, and I, met a lot of really awesome people. I met this lady, Judy Finneran, who runs a really awesome set of support groups on Facebook. There's a group that's a juicing only group that they run every single month, and it's a really huge support group. So you can, if you're thinking of doing this, then you can be with a bunch of like-minded people. If you're feeling like, oh my God, I really want to eat something, you could type it out on Facebook, and all these people will pop out of the woodwork to help encourage you to make sure to keep you on track with your health fitness goals. I mean, that's really the biggest thing, and it affected me so much that now I'm doing that type of stuff. I'm now like a Beachbody coach. I'm a fitness coach. I'm trying to get my friends active and into doing things like P90X or even just going out and walking or taking bikes with me. I've been trying to get people to come around and do the stuff with me ever since I started doing this. But now that I have met this group of people, they've made me basically just want to go and help any and everybody that I can, which is why I'm doing this right now, right? So as far as the method, I just tried to follow exactly what they did, as close to what they did, and I tried to do my activity and improve on it the best I could. It was around that time that a friend of mine told me, hey, oh, you're biking now. Well, you should come check out this ride with me. It's called the Seattle to Portland Classic. And I was all like, wait, what? The Seattle to Portland Classic? What is that? And then he's like, oh, well, it's a 200-mile bike ride from Seattle to Portland. It's pretty crazy. And I was like, wait a minute, you ride a bike from, like, Seattle all the way down to Portland? And that's 200 miles? Like, you must be out of your freaking mind. And I was like, well, if this stuff really works, because at that point I wasn't sure if it was really working. I mean, it seemed like it might have been working. I was only pretty early on, a couple weeks in or whatever. So I decided to start training for it, and I totally did it. It was amazing. It was fun. So yeah. I'll I don't know what I'm going to talk about next time, but I'll figure something out. Anyway, I'll see you soon.